I'm a flight attendant. My husband is very successful, but he doesn't love me. Once a month, he takes one of my flights, and each time, he's with a different, glamorous woman. My heart feels like it's being sliced, but I can only bear it in silence. On the last flight, just before landing, I walked over to him, leaned down, and whispered in his ear, "Arthur, I agree to the divorce. I'm off tomorrow. Let's go get it done." The plane flew steadily at 30,000 feet. I was in the galley checking the meal service when the purser came over. I stood up straight. "Ma'am." She took the checklist from my hand and reviewed it. "You have an opportunity to be promoted to first class service. Why aren't you going for it?" "Ma'am, I feel I'm not good enough yet. I still have more to learn." Humility is a virtue, but too much of it can hold you back. "Start heating the meals." The purser handed the list back to me and returned to the first class cabin. My gaze followed her, landing on the passenger in seat 1A. No one knew that the most distinguished black card holder in first class was my husband, but beside him sat a beautiful woman. There was no way I could work in first class. I couldn't bring myself to smile, crouch down, and provide perfect service for my own husband and the woman he was with. Even though we had been married for a year and had never been intimate, I was forced upon Arthur by his grandfather. My grandfather and his were war buddies. On our wedding night, he unbuttoned half his shirt, then got up and went to the balcony to smoke. Halfway through his cigarette, he turned his head. "I have many houses. I won't necessarily be back every day. You just do whatever you need to do." He was a man of his word. He returned to our marital home maybe once a month. Later, tabloids ran stories about his affairs with other women. Before I could even call to ask him about it, he called me first. "If you want a divorce, I'll agree anytime." His words left me speechless. That day, I just nodded. "I understand." Sometime later, he came home, still not divorcing. In that moment, I finally understood how desperately he wanted to end this marriage, but I pretended to be asleep, ignoring the topic. The pillow beneath my head was damp by morning. No one knew that I had fallen for him long ago. We had met 7 years prior, but he had long since forgotten. "Hello, here is your chicken and rice. Please enjoy." After finishing the meal service, I pushed the cart through the business class cabin. He was busy with work. The woman beside him, draped in a vibrant silk scarf, was admiring the clouds outside the window. The purser went over and knelt slightly. "Sir, would you like to change into slippers? I can help you with your shoes." "I can do it myself." He politely declined. "Ma'am, let me help you with your shoes and get you some slippers." The woman turned her gaze back. "Thank you." The moment Arthur looked up, our eyes met. I immediately looked away and quickly pulled the cart out of the aisle. 2 hours later, the plane landed. "Please watch your step. Goodbye." After deplaning, the woman linked her arm with his, the wind catching her wavy, seaweed-like hair. Still looking. They've already gotten into their private car. I turned to see my colleagues had also grabbed their luggage, ready to leave. "I'm sorry, ma'am." "You like him?" I quickly shook my head. "No." She patted my shoulder and smiled. "Don't give up the next promotion opportunity." That evening, Arthur came home. I wasn't expecting him. When he arrived, I was on the sofa with semi-damp hair, watching TV. My mind was blank. I wasn't really watching anything. He had a tall, commanding presence. When he entered, the whole room seemed to shrink. I wanted to ask him something, but the scene from the plane flashed in my mind, and the desire vanished. He sat on the other sofa and took a call. Only then did I smell the faint scent of alcohol on him. I grabbed a bag of chips, tore it open, and ate them one by one. "Morning meeting at 9 tomorrow." He hung up and looked at me. I looked back. "Nothing you want to ask?" I shook my head, putting the chips down. I went to the bathroom. In the mirror, my face was quiet, almost pale. When I came out, he was on the balcony. A few seconds later, the light from his phone disappeared. He turned sideways, a faint smile on his lips that quickly vanished. I froze, speechless. His happiness had nothing to do with me. He slept in the guest room. I woke up early to go to the airline. He was up too. As the elevator descended, we stood on opposite sides. When it reached the ground floor, I stepped out. He continued down to the garage. The weather that day was terrible. The plane experienced severe turbulence during the flight, shaking violently and dropping multiple times. After we landed, everyone was crying with relief. The flight became a hot topic online. In the bustling terminal, I stopped to check my phone. Not a single call. My sorrow, too, had nothing to do with him. I saw him again a month later, on a flight from Bayonne to Tianfu. The weather that day was beautiful. The sun was bright, and the flight was smooth the entire way. He was with the same woman as last time. Her skin was very fair. Mid-flight, she leaned on his shoulder and slept peacefully. It was also a holiday, International Women's Day. The airline had prepared roses. Ladies and gentlemen, today is International Women's Day. The airline has prepared a rose for each female passenger on this flight. May all our women be fearless against time and elegant for a lifetime. Happy Women's Day. Thank you. Your airline is so thoughtful. I never get flowers on holidays, but I get one on a plane. Miss, Happy Women's Day to you too. After distributing the flowers, I looked toward business class. The purser was giving a rose to the woman beside him. Happy Women's Day. May I place this flower on your tray table? Fine. I returned to my station, washed the trays, and sat down. I looked out at the clouds. My heart was calm, yet it ached. The clouds parted. My cold fingers twitched. I tilted my head back. Some people are just not meant to be yours. Let him go. Ladies and gentlemen, our flight will be arriving at Tianfu Airport in approximately 30 minutes. We look forward to seeing you on your next journey. The plane was about to begin its descent. I stood up, walked to his side, and said softly, Arthur, I agree to the divorce. I'm off tomorrow. Let's go get it done. After work, I dragged a large suitcase home. I pressed my fingerprint on the lock and pushed the door open. For once, he was home early. Was it because we were getting a divorce? This house no longer felt oppressive to him, so he came back sooner. I dragged the suitcase inside. I put some rice in the rice cooker. Then I went to the bedroom and started packing. He came and stood at the doorway for a while. Don't pack. The house is yours. My body stiffened. Then, I turned around and shook my head. You bought this house before we were married. I didn't contribute a penny. I can't take it. I went back to packing. He stood there for a moment longer, then left. It was a good thing he left. Packing my clothes into the suitcase one by one, sweeping all the bottles and jars off the counter to take with me. It felt as if I had only been a temporary guest here. And now, it was time to leave. In this moment, I didn't feel at all like I had ever been the mistress of this house. Pathetic, pitiful, useless. I hadn't expected him to come home tonight. I hadn't bought any groceries. There was no need, like in the past, to cook several dishes to try and win over his stomach when he came back. After the rice was cooked, I went to a small shop downstairs and bought some prepared cold dishes. Dinner's ready. He came over from the French windows, putting down his book. The dishes on the table seemed to surprise him. I thought you wouldn't be back, that we'd just go straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow, so I didn't buy groceries. We'll have to make do tonight, I said, taking a few bites of rice. He, who was usually so picky, actually sat down. We ate in silence. Halfway through, he spoke. Where did you get these cold dishes? They're not bad. He finished the bowl of rice I had initially served him. After dinner, I washed the dishes and cleaned the kitchen. He sat on a chair on the balcony, his hands resting on the armrests. He seemed to be deep in thought. I didn't understand him at all. It was like he was the boss, and I was just a flight attendant. Our professional worlds never intersected, but based on a single glimmer of light from 7 years ago, he was imprinted on my heart, impossible to remove. Fate was kind to me, bringing us together despite our vast differences in status, but we were too much like strangers, and we ultimately failed that kindness, because he deserved someone better. If people were pearls, standing next to him, I would be a very dull one. After packing up the bedroom, I took a shower and packed my things from the bathroom as well. He took a few calls on the balcony. He glanced at me a few times. I packed my belongings from the living room, sealing the boxes with tape. There was nothing else to take. When I finished, I sat on the sofa for a moment to rest. He came in. His legs were long, but then again, he had no flaws. So young, yet already so successful, for the past 2 years. I'm sorry, take this card. He pushed a black card toward me. The password is your birthday. I turned my head and looked at him. He still knew my birthday. He must have specifically looked it up to change the password. No, thank you. My salary is enough to support myself. I don't need the card. He sat on the sofa. I didn't take the card, and he didn't take it back. Can I ask you a question? Ask anything you want. Will you get married again? Will you have a big wedding? When we got married, we just registered and then had a simple meal with our families. If he were to marry again, it would surely be to a woman he loved. He would give her a beautiful wedding, witnessed by many loved ones. Don't overthink it. Get some rest. He let me ask but didn't answer. He stood up and went to the bedroom. I sat for a while, then went to my room to sleep. The next day, he was up a little earlier than me. I grabbed my documents. Let's go. We went down to the garage and got into his car. He drove in silence to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I looked out at the traffic. The passenger seat was soft and comfortable, but I had rarely sat in it. I never thought the last time would be to get a divorce. I couldn't help but think about the woman he brought on the plane, the only one he had brought twice. What would it be like if she were in the passenger seat? Would she be eating snacks, talking to him? Would he be playing music? But my mind went blank, and I stopped thinking about it. I realized I was truly, slowly letting go of this marriage. At the bureau, the divorce process was quiet. Signing, stamping, receiving the new document. The booklet in my hand was cold. I'll move my things out today. No rush. Take your time. You should go to your office. I'm leaving too. Back at the apartment, I arranged for couriers and mailed my packages one by one to my dorm. With the last remaining boxes, I carried them to the door, deleted my fingerprint from the lock, and pulled the door shut behind me. I left. Life continued as usual. I went to work. The pain of the divorce slowly faded with time. In the 3 months after, I never saw him on any of my flights. So, it was all deliberate before, wasn't it? Deliberately making me feel awkward, so I would know my place and retreat. But there is no feast that doesn't end, and no sorrow that lasts forever. Once you move past it, you're fine. A former husband and wife can one day face each other as calm strangers. Just like him and me, when we met again, we were strangers. At the end of the 4th month, he appeared on our flight again. This time, there was no woman with him. I still hadn't been promoted to first class, but I saw him when I went to the front cabin to get something. He never looked up. I passed by quickly. Leo, one of the captains on this flight, was resting in the last row of first class. He stood up and blocked my way. He was on his break. Dinner after we land. His sudden appearance almost made me lose my balance. I politely declined. I have to study regulations for my exam tonight. It's just dinner. It won't take long. I can't. It's settled. During dinner, I'll tell you a little trick for studying the regulations. I guarantee it'll double your efficiency, Leo said confidently, walking past me. Then looking back, it's a date. I'm going to relieve the other pilot now. My colleague looked over, covering her mouth with a smile. I felt my face flush. I quickly pulled the curtain and returned to my work area. A coffee, please. Thank you. Right away, sir. I heard Arthur's conversation with my colleague behind me. 2 hours later, the plane landed. Most of the passengers had deplaned. My colleague came over, and we checked the luggage compartments together. So what? Stop playing dumb. The captain is pursuing you. Are you going to say no? Don't be ridiculous. Still denying it. What? You think you're too good for a captain? You shouldn't be too picky. At the neighboring airline, a trainee flight attendant asked for his number today. He's the youngest single captain around. A lot of people have their eye on him. Talking about me, Leo came over, here to ask Sarah out to dinner. So eager. Excuse me. My colleague quickly shut up and moved aside. I froze. Arthur hadn't deplaned yet. He was just coming out of the lavatory. Honored guest, thank you for flying with us. Have a pleasant journey. My colleague immediately recognized him as the VIP from first class. I was speechless. As he passed, he glanced at me. I lowered my head. It was rude of us to stare. Watch your step. Leo nodded at him and walked over to me. Let's go. Shift's over. What do you want to eat? Leo and I walked out of the airport terminal. He had already booked a restaurant and called a cab. Amidst my colleagues' mischievous smiles, I was pushed into the car. The restaurant Leo booked was in the city center, an elegant steakhouse. Leo was a very humorous and charming person. In him, I saw the shadow of the popular campus idol from my university days. He had a great personality too. Halfway through the meal, what? You don't like me? He gently tapped my head. No, you've misunderstood. I guiltily took a sip of my fruit wine. Heartbroken. Stop guessing. He shrugged. Looks like I guessed right. Perfect. My shoulder is available for you to lean on. I rested my chin in my hand, listening to the violinist, trying not to look at him. Taking the elevator down, I could see the bustling city through the glass walls. Leo moved closer and took my hand. His voice floated above my head. Sarah, give me a chance. Can we try? I pulled my hand away and looked up at him. What's wrong? Silly. He leaned down gently, our lips almost touching. He was wearing a white t-shirt. His skin was flawless, giving off a strong, boyish vibe. I turned away, feeling my whole body flush. The secluded elevator seemed to be malfunctioning. Descending slowly, he leaned in again, standing next to me. Did I scare you? Silly. I turned my head, asking with a hint of annoyance. How am I silly? He tapped my nose and leaned in again. You're not silly. You know, That word has another meaning. Right. The elevator doors opened. There were people waiting to get in. I hurried out. When I got home, he sent me a message. For the next 6 days, I get to enjoy myself for 3 of them. I was confused. What do you mean? He sent me a picture of our work schedule. Look at the roster. We're scheduled for 3 flights together. Silly, don't you know? Every time you're on my flight, my heart races. Good night, Sarah. The airline was shooting a new promotional magazine, and I was chosen as this issue's representative. At first, I didn't think much of it and prepared according to the materials they provided, but on the day of the shoot, when I arrived at the studio, I realized the photography company was a subsidiary of the Sterling Corporation, because the company name didn't include Sterling. I hadn't made the connection. Miss Sarah, what's wrong? The makeup artist noticed my unease. I shook my head. Nothing. I quickly composed myself. I was overthinking it. It was just a small subsidiary. The photographer, a man, came over. Miss Sarah, have you read the pre-shoot instructions I sent? I've read them all carefully. I nodded. A week before, they had given me the materials so I could be better prepared. Once everything was ready, the flash went on, and I stood in the center of the set. Miss Sarah, relax your shoulders a bit more. Excellent. We had been trained on these poses at the airline, so they weren't difficult. With a little guidance, I could do them well. But I never expected that halfway through the shoot, Arthur would come to inspect. I instantly tensed up. Mr. Sterling. The staff nodded at him repeatedly. He glanced at me on the set. He asked the person in charge, "How's the shoot going?" "It's going well. She has the great posture of a flight attendant, but she's still a bit nervous. If she could relax more, the results would be even better." The photographer showed him the pictures on his camera. A little more relaxed, and it would be perfect. He gestured for the staff to continue. I thought he would leave, but he stayed for the next few sets, overseeing the progress. Miss Sarah, your initial shots were quite good. The photographer put down his camera and stood up. His meaning was clear. My current photos weren't as good as the earlier ones. After another click, Arthur signaled to stop. Take a break, then we'll shoot again. The tension in my body finally eased for a moment. Get her a glass of warm water. Yes, Mr. Sterling. He took the camera and checked the photos. Miss Sarah, have some water. The makeup artist came over to touch up my makeup, encouraging me warmly. Just treat it like a normal photo shoot. You don't need to be so nervous. Your figure and face are amazing. You look beautiful just standing there, but the photographer can tell you can do even better. You can do it. Thank you for the encouragement. I glanced at Arthur, who was looking at the camera. He looked up and met my gaze. I looked away and took a sip of water. Unexpectedly, he walked over with the camera and leaned against the makeup table. Don't be nervous later. Your shots are good. I nodded, humming a soft He glanced at the makeup artist. Don't make it too heavy. She suits a lighter touch. He walked away with the camera. His words seemed to have struck a chord. Everyone in the studio looked over. After my makeup was done, I didn't linger and returned to the set. After a few clicks, I was stopped again. My palms were sweating. I still hadn't gotten the result they wanted. He walked over, raised his hand, and gently placed it on my shoulder. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. I stared at him, stunned. His gaze deepened slightly. I closed my eyes and did as he said. Don't open your eyes until you're completely relaxed. Imagine everyone here is an animal. A rabbit, a tiger, a cat. I followed his instructions, imagining the makeup artist as a rabbit, the stylist as a goat, the photographer as a monkey, and him as a cold, majestic lion. He removed his hand. I opened my eyes. This time, I was much more relaxed. He stepped back. The photographer handed him the camera. Mr. Sterling, would you like to take the shots? He actually took it. Fortunately, this time, with him behind the camera, I wasn't nervous at all. During the shoot, I overheard the staff talking. He had won a photography award before. The rest of the shoot went smoothly, whether it was solo shots, shots with props, or situational scenes. Everything was completed without a hitch. Thank you for your hard work. Miss Sarah, we're all done. You can go home now. You've all worked harder. I nodded gratefully. It's getting chilly. Put this on. I hadn't noticed when Leo had arrived. He came over and draped his jacket over my shoulders. When did you get here? A little while ago. I rushed over after my flight to watch you shoot. I'm a whole person standing right here, and you didn't even notice me. Heartless. He pretended to be angry and tapped my nose. I playfully slapped his hand away. I was focused on the shoot. How could I notice anything else? Wait for me. I'm just packing up. I went back to the makeup table and gathered my things. As I passed their workstation, Arthur was engrossed in reviewing the photos. "Let's take the photography team out for dinner. They worked hard all day," Leo whispered as he came up beside me and took my hand. I was stunned. Leo leaned in closer. "You invite everyone. It's my treat. If Arthur wasn't here, I definitely would have, but with him present, it felt awkward." "What's wrong?" "Forget it. I'll do it." Leo thought I was being shy. He walked over to the photographer and clapped him on the shoulder. "Hey man, thanks for the hard work today. Let's all go out for dinner." "My treat." The staff was excited, but the photographer still hesitated. No, man. This is our job. It's what we do. Come on, don't be polite." At that, no one refused. I glanced at Arthur, who was still examining the photos. He had been staring at the computer the whole time, not saying a word. Looking at him now, he really did have the air of an artist, and I realized then, I truly didn't know him at all. My past impression of him was just the cold, top executive of Sterling. The photographer walked over to him. "Mr. Sterling, Miss Sarah's boyfriend is treating us to dinner." I could feel that they were still on edge, waiting for Arthur's permission. "Let's go." Together, he closed the laptop and stood up. This surprised everyone, followed by a wave of relief. Leo smiled. He took my hand. "Let's go." Because it was a large group, we chose a Chinese restaurant. Leo didn't notice, but I felt a strange atmosphere the whole time. But I was the only one who felt it, and no one knew about my relationship with Arthur. After ordering, everyone started chatting. "Hey handsome, what do you do?" Leo smiled. "I fly planes." A collective gasp. "A captain." Leo smiled and nodded. "That's so cool. No wonder you're so good looking." "I heard pilots are 1 in a million. We see a lot of handsome guys in our line of work, but when you walked into the studio today, all the female staff were sneaking glances at you." A captain and a flight attendant. So well matched. I'm so envious. Honestly, I've seen a lot of flight attendants, but I was really struck by Miss Sarah's aura. She has this quiet elegance, like what's the word? Like a lily, so serene, and her skin is amazing. I blushed at the compliments. "You guys are too kind." Then, Leo announced, "The food's here. Everyone's tired. Let's dig in." I inadvertently met Arthur's gaze. He hadn't eaten much the whole time. He was just watching Leo and me. Leo noticed too. "Is the food not to your liking, Mr. Sterling? We can order something else." "It's fine." He averted his gaze and picked up his chopsticks. The photographer stood up with his glass. "Mr. Sterling, you're always at headquarters. It's rare to have a meal with you. I'd like to take this opportunity to toast you with tea instead of wine." Arthur also stood, raised his glass to everyone. "A toast to everyone. Thank you for your contributions to Sterling." After the toast, everyone got rowdy and started toasting us. "We have to toast Captain Leo and Miss Sarah. Thank you for treating us to dinner. We wish you both eternal happiness and love. Yes, when you get married, don't forget to send us an invitation. You must be happy forever." Leo filled my teacup and took my hand to stand up. "Thank you for your blessings." "We will." But as we all clinked glasses, Arthur sat alone at the table, with 8 people standing and only him sitting. The scene was jarring. His employees were at a loss. They exchanged confused glances. His phone on the table rang. He picked it up. "Excuse me, I have to take this." He went outside to answer the call. The atmosphere at the table became more relaxed, and we all drank up. After dinner, the photography team said they had to go back to work overtime. They quickly hailed cabs and left. Arthur came out and walked to his car. Due to flying regulations, pilots are generally not allowed to drive. Leo usually took cabs. "I'll take you back to your dorm first." "No, that's too far out of your way." "It's fine. Or, you could move in with me." "Get lost. Come on. The car's here." He smiled and tightened the collar of my coat. The wind was a bit strong. I couldn't win against him. We got into a taxi together, and he took me back to my dorm first. As the car drove away, I looked back. Arthur's car had also started. When we arrived at my dorm building, I was about to get out. "Rest early. I'll come pick you up in the morning." "Don't. It's already an early start. You don't need to come get me." Captains usually wake up extremely early, sometimes as early as 4:30 a.m., to get to the airline, eat, and do pre-flight checks. He raised an eyebrow, his arm still around my waist. "Tomorrow morning is the only time I'll get to see you. You won't even grant me that. We're on different routes tomorrow." He leaned close to my ear, his voice low. "If you don't agree, I'm not letting go." I glanced at the waiting driver in the front seat. I pinched him. "Fine." I got out of the car, and the taxi drove away. I stood at the entrance for a moment, I was in a daze. It had only been 6 months, and I seemed to have already started a new relationship. I once thought it would take me a long time to get over that suffocating marriage, but what kind of person had I met? Just like that, he was leading me onto his pirate ship. Beep beep. As I was about to go upstairs, a car horn sounded. I looked over. Under a large tree to my left, a black car was parked. Arthur, the person who got out, was indeed him. He walked over, not saying a word, just looking at me, but his gaze had changed. It was no longer so cold, but softer. I spoke first. Can I help you? He looked up at the building. Can I come up for a bit? I was confused. If there's something you need to say, let's just say it here. He seemed to give a bitter smile. You've changed. The old you, when you looked at me, always had so much to say, but you always held it back. Now, when you look at me, your eyes are empty, as if there's nothing left to say. I looked down. We're already divorced. Divorced. No relationship at all. There's a cafe nearby. Can we go sit there? I looked at the tree. Its yellow leaves falling. I shook my head. I have to go up. I have work tomorrow. I put my hands in my coat pockets. Seeing he had nothing more to say, I turned to walk towards the building. Sarah, I regret it. On this cold night. His words were like a bolt of lightning streaking across the sky. The air fell silent. After a moment, he continued. I can feel that you once loved me very deeply, but I didn't cherish it. I even thought, Grandpa is so domineering. What right does he have to decide my life? To force a stranger I don't even know on me? So, I couldn't accept you. And I couldn't understand you. Why, when we barely knew each other, were your eyes so full of me? I thought you were just after the Sterling family's money and status. It wasn't until after you moved out, when I was at home and happened to find this pen, that I realized. We met 7 years ago. You were cornered by some thugs, and I helped you. I turned back. He was holding the pen he had dropped all those years ago. Time rewound. The summer of my senior year of high school. I was cornered by a few thugs on my way home from class. They pulled my hair, my clothes, and wouldn't let me leave. My heart was trembling with fear. They even pulled out a knife and forced me into an abandoned alley. If he hadn't been passing by that intersection and seen what was happening, and acted bravely, I don't know what would have happened to me that day. Maybe my life would have been ruined. Even though he was alone and there were 5 or 6 of them, he still walked over. He demanded, "What are you doing?" Seeing he was alone, they pushed him. "Kid, mind your own business." Scram. He suddenly threw a punch, hitting the one who pushed him, then looked at me. "Run." They ganged up on him. In the end, he was badly beaten, his head bleeding, but he fought with all his might, refusing to give up. It wasn't until they heard voices from the end of the alley that the thugs got scared and ran off. I went over, took out a tissue, and dabbed the blood from his temple. "Are you okay? I'll take you to the hospital." He picked up his ringing phone from the ground and put it to his ear. "You're all there. I'm on my way." He hung up and went to pick up his fallen textbooks. "I'm fine. You should go home." "I have to go. Can I have your contact information? I'll pay you back for the medical expenses." I shouted at his retreating back. At the time, I only had a few dollars of pocket money. "No need. It's a minor injury." He didn't look back and left. That day, he saved me, but he never really looked at me. But I never forgot his face. His pen had fallen. I picked it up and ran after him, wanting to return it. He had already hailed a cab and left. During my 3 years of high school, besides studying, nothing else had entered my oppressive high school life, until his act of bravery, which stayed in my heart. Unforgettable. Fate was not unkind to me. After I graduated, it arranged for us to meet again, and even for me to become his wife. Through the introduction of our 2 elders, I saw him again, but he didn't recognize me at all. At the dinner table, he was very distant. I could tell he was not happy with the marriage from the start. I didn't want to make things difficult for him. Just as I was about to tell my grandfather to cancel the marriage, he suddenly agreed, but only on the condition that everything be kept simple. Thinking back now, he must have agreed to some condition from his grandfather to marry me, and I thought, we have a long life ahead of us. After we get married, I will do my best to build a relationship with him. I had imagined it all too beautifully. After we married, I couldn't melt the layers of ice around him. A forced marriage is truly hard to make happy. Between us, there was only coldness, and more coldness, throughout our marriage. We couldn't even have one proper conversation. "Arthur, it's all in the past. Let's both move forward." He walked over, his tall frame blocking me, and took my hand, but it was only after the fact that I realized without you, a piece of my life is missing. "Sarah, let me pursue you again." "Okay." After the initial shock, My heart vehemently refused. Don't. You have no idea how much it hurt, those 2 years, when you brought woman after woman onto my flights. And it was my work time. I couldn't show it. Arthur, I've been hurt by many things in my life, but none of it compares to even 1% of the pain you brought me. He lowered his head in guilt. I'm sorry, but I need to explain. I had no relationship with them. They were just accompanying me on a flight. I was so foolish then. I never once looked at you properly. I just thought you were someone my grandfather forced on me, someone who was supposed to be with me for life. I couldn't accept that arrangement. I just wanted to break free, to end our relationship as soon as possible, but after we did, I only felt a brief sense of relief before everything felt wrong. In those 2 years that I tried so hard to ignore you, it actually had the opposite effect. You became etched into my heart and soul, without me even knowing. I pulled my hand away and stepped back. I looked up at the sky. The stars were beautiful tonight, but it was too cold. No one wants to admire the stars in such cold. So, why did you realize it so late? Why, for 2 years, were you unwilling to have a single proper conversation with me? You knew I was in pain, didn't you? You watched me struggle in agony, and you chose indifference. Arthur, I can't turn back. He gently touched my forehead. In the cold night, his voice was low and magnetic. You don't have to turn back. This time, it's my turn to walk towards you. My phone rang. I took it out. Sarah, are you asleep? Sleep well. Good night. Arthur removed his hand. I put my phone away. I looked at him. You should go back. I really have to go upstairs now. He nodded. We turned and walked away from each other. Suddenly, from behind me, he called out, Sarah, which city are you flying to tomorrow?